Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
And welcome back. Good morning. 6:07 in the AM here overlooking the River Toms at the WOBM AM studios. It is 22 degrees as you crack open your radio and consider what to do for the day. Just, again, I don't want to, for those of you that need a little extra help, it's probably your warmest jacket today. But I'm warning you that the temperature is going to rise, so you may find yourself kind of in limbo as we get longer, deeper into the day, as we get into the 30s and 40s. So plan accordingly. I recommend, like my grandmother always told me, layer. All right, 732-505-1160. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio, and available on the Radio Pup app. Here in studio with me right now, very excited to be sitting across from Rob Onofretti. Rob is the president of the Toms River Board of Education. Welcome, Rob.
Good morning. Thank you, Jeremy.
Rob is Toms River. I'm gonna let Rob talk about himself, but first, before I let Rob talk, I do want to. I want to say, Rob, I still hold a grudge.
Yeah.
I still hold a grudge.
Yes.
So
I figured this would come up.
Rob and I have some history. The history's not long. We weren't childhood friends. We weren't like hanging out on the streets playing stickball together. What we did do is we ran against each other for the Board of Ed 2 years ago now. A year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago, yeah.
And so the reason that Rob is sitting across the microphone from me talking about being the president of the Board of Ed, and the reason that I'm sitting here talking to you on the radio is because, quite frankly, Rob kicked my tushy all over the place. That's disappointing. It was upsetting. He emasculated me. I had to go home and explain to my kids why Daddy was a failure. It was painful. It was painful. It was a dark day in the Grunin household. But I'm showing everybody, I'm showing the world today that I'm a bigger man for it.
Absolutely, and I think it all worked out for the best because Toms River gets all of you now and all the great things that you're doing. I actually spoke to your dad about this over at High School North, and he had said, listen, I know Jeremy probably doesn't want to hear this, he said, but it's the best thing that could have happened. Because look at all the great things that he's been able to do since then. And you know, it's easy for me to say, but I agree. I think everything that you have been able to do in the last year and what you're doing now is just amazing. So, you know, I congratulate you. That race was tough. It really was. You know, but at the end of the day, you've been a gentleman. You've been great since then. So, you know, I thank you for having me on. It's been a great experience.
Well, you know what? Then forget it. We're not posting the pictures that I had, and I'm not asking those couple of extra questions.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
I'm going to cross those off. But Rob, why don't you tell our listening audience a little about yourself?
Sure.
You know, how long you lived here, kids, et cetera, et cetera.
So I've been a resident of Toms River since May of '98. I graduated from Manchester, so don't hold that against me. I grew up in Manchester. You know, got married in '98, moved to Toms River. I have 4 daughters. They one at SITA, 3 at Intermediate North. So they're right in the line, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So next year, my oldest will be going to high school, which is another topic in and of itself.
Right.
But you know, I own a mortgage company here in town. I've been in Toms River for quite some time, and decided to really get involved with the school a couple of years ago. You know, after Superstorm Sandy it hit, and you know there were just some things going on within the schools and within the districts, and just wanted to ask some questions. And I found that the questions that I was asking weren't being responded to, which I found to be not good, for lack of a better word. I mean, and the questions I was asking were easy. You know, we just had a huge storm. There's a hole in the ceiling, and the floors are getting wet. Why? I couldn't get an answer, and that really bothered me. So I started going to the school board meetings, started getting involved, and that's kind of how it evolved to where I am today. So it's been going on for quite some time for me being involved in schools, but I love it. I've said this to everybody that will listen. It is the best non-paying job that I have. I love everything about it, but that's kind of a little bit about me and kind of where I've come from and how long I've been here.
Cool. So and Rob, the reason that we invited you in, aside from the fact that I wanted to get my 30 lashings in for you beating me, is that the theme of our show is get up, get out, and do something. So when our listeners hear that you're a dad who had questions about the schools and weren't accepting of the status quo and instead say, hey, let me get out there and do something about it, I think you, again, are kind of the embodiment of what we're trying to get a community to do. Because if we built a community of doers as opposed to a community of talkers, we could make this an even better place than it already is.
Well, exactly. And then we were just chatting about that prior to coming in. I want more people to come out to our meetings, listen, ask questions, get involved. The auditorium at High School North seats about 1,500 people, and we get 60.
Right.
And a lot of people say, well, that's great. But no, I want people to come out, ask questions, get involved. I mean, anything that the schools need, they ask, I'm there, regardless of what it is. I ran a 5K in 20 degrees over at Intermediate North. It doesn't matter what they need, the schools need. I'm there. And I would love, and that's when I tell people, why, what do you do? Well, this is the reason. Just get up, get out, like you're saying, get involved. And, I'm a big advocate for all parents to be involved, no matter what level, whether it's just at the school, their class, whatever it is. That's if I can help out, that's what I'm going to do.
Great. So we've talked about why you got involved with the Board of Ed. Talk to me about, you just took over. Yes. So you've decided not only are you going to go in and make an impact, but you've said, hey, you know what? That's good. I'm on the Board of Ed. I know it doesn't pay me anything. I know I have to take abuse, and I know I stand up here and try to make a difference and open myself up for whatever. But then you said, let me see how much more of a masochist I could be. Let me see if I could take it to the next level.
Exactly.
I'm going to go ahead and be the president here of the Board of Ed. So what is on your agenda for the next year or so that you're hoping that you can accomplish in your time in the role?
Well, in addition to kind of feeding my ego to continue to do this, but now in all seriousness, what I want to do and the things that I want to accomplish over the next year, it's quite simple. I want to be able to, and we were chatting about this before, is to really increase the transparency. I hear a lot of the things out there people will say, but I want people to come to the meetings. I want people to ask me questions, and maybe it's intimidating for folks to get up at that microphone at Toms River North. And a while back, some previous administrations had gone out to the schools. They had these little mini town hall meetings. They utilized the school's PTO meetings, or they set up little special meetings for meet and greets. And I think that's really important. I've been chatting with a lot of teachers, a lot of folks since taking over as president, even prior to. The one thing everybody asks for is, well, it would be nice if we could do this, or it would be nice, we need more, more communication. And I want to bridge that gap between this and the board, between the administration, and between the parents and the teachers. And I think that's really paramount is getting the information. I do my due diligence on everything. No matter what I'm going to do, I'll research, and a lot of what gets put out there isn't necessarily fact, or it's not necessarily rooted in what exactly is happening. So I would love to be able to go out and just have these little informal meetings. If you don't want to ask me a question, High School North, ask me a question there, and if I don't have the answer, I'm going to get it for you. But at the end of the day, we're gonna help you out, and that's
cool.
One of the goals I want to.
So Rob Onofretti, president of the Toms River Board of Ed, he is here to take phone calls as well. So talk about putting yourself out there, and being an open book. 732-505-1160 if you want to join the conversation. Park and Common Core. We're going to talk about that next. Welcome back. We're here with Rob Onofretti, president of the Toms River Board of Ed. If you're wondering what we do in the break, and if you think we're just sitting here eating bonbons and talking about the football game last night, no. We run around and we try and figure out how to get all the headphones to work so that we can all communicate and talk to each other. And in case you call and want to talk, we can hear what you have to say. It's very stressful. It's something that you're really looking forward to first thing in the morning, and I recommend it for everyone. The fire drill is a good thing to do early on in the morning.
Absolutely.
Thank you again to Zach for I'll tell you what,
anytime.
we got to start measuring your steps, brother. I think you have an Apple Watch.
I don't.
A Fitbit.
I have a Fitbit.
You have a Fitbit, but you weigh
do.
like 17 pounds. So what's the point?
Well, I like to run, so it gives me a good measure of how far I'm going.
Yeah, I ran a lot in grade school, but that's mostly because I was getting chased. Anyway. Moving right along, Rob Onofretti, we were talking about the Park and Common Core. I teased that.
Yes.
See that this is week 2 and I'm already teasing things, like to make sure people come back.
Yes, exactly.
That's really good, right?
Absolutely.
So Park and Common Core, I guess Chris Christie just got handed a set of recommendations on a study around what we should do to improve our schools, particularly around Park and Common Core. Do you agree with where we're heading? What's your feeling on Park and Common Core?
Well, I do think that where we're going, I think it's going to be better. I'm all for putting the pen back in the teacher's hand, quite frankly. You say what you want about Park. I wasn't crazy about the test at all, but it's a standardized test. We've been taking them for forever and a day. I used to remember when I was in school, I took the CAT test, the California Achievements, and the Iowas. So no matter what we have, there's going to be a standardized testing. I don't like the way that we, not meaning Tom's River, but we did it, between, the 2 different weeks, and there seemed to be a lot of, preparation for the test. But I think our teachers did an amazing job kind of wrapping their lessons around getting these kids ready for the Park exam and incorporating this into their lessons, which they did an amazing job. I'm very much happier this year that we're going to be doing the Park in 1 week rather than broken up. I think that's better for the kids. I think, no matter what we do, there's going to be some standardized testing. So there's going to be people that like it, don't. It's just it's a part of life. We can only do what the state's telling us to. I think that, what Chris Christie's trying to do is going in the right direction. He listened to the people. There's a lot of folks that, as you can tell by Facebook and reading anything out there, a lot of folks don't like it. So they are listening, and we're going to get there. But we get our guidance from the state, and and we will continue to play a major role in that.
Cool. So I'm not going to let you off the hook about Common
Core,
Core, but we do have a caller.
Very good.
So
yes,
who do we have?
We have Kevin from Tom's River.
All right, Kevin from Tom's River, welcome.
Good morning, Jeremy. Great contemporary show you're bringing to Ocean County. We really appreciate you tackling some of these issues. And Rob, best of luck as Board of Education president.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
One of the questions I had, at what point might the Tom's River schools go to a one-on-one initiative with technology? Obviously, textbooks are heavy and cumbersome.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of districts in Ocean County are looking to go to Chromebooks.
Yes.
The price point is pretty reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something the Board of Ed has looked at?
Well, we've just invested a little over $1 million and a half into upgrading our technology. Prior to a year and a half ago, Tom's River was way behind in the technology. We've upgraded the Wi-Fi sources in all of the schools. We've put the overhead projectors so they connect to the Chromebooks. We have, I don't know the exact number, but I actually did ask that question of the administration, I think in November of last year at one of our technology committee meetings, is that are we going to move to the one-on-one basis, the one-to-one basis? And really that's going to be up to the board and financing, quite frankly. But I can tell you that my kids love the Chromebooks. I'm a Mac guy myself. I know, I heard Jeremy talking about the iWatch coming in, but I'm a Mac guy myself, and my kids are, they're telling me to get off the Mac, go to the Chromebook, and so we're kind of upgrading everything into the house to the Chromebooks. So I think they're an amazing tool. I've spoke to a lot of teachers that really love utilizing them into their lesson plans. So it is a goal, and if the financing is there, absolutely.
Yeah, I hope that's something they look at. I work in a school in Ocean County that we've moved in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Price points around $175 and a textbook somewhere in the $80 to $100 range.
Yeah.
And not a bad idea, something to look at. But I wish you guys the best of luck. I kind of think this is a rebirth for the Tom's River schools. And we look forward to better things to come in the future. Best of luck to you guys.
Well, thank you very much for the phone call. Very much appreciated.
Kevin, thanks so much for the call. I hope you're a regular caller here, especially when you say nice things about the show.
Yeah, you got it. Best of luck, Jeremy.
Thanks,
Take care, guys.
All right, good. So, so I think that brings up an interesting point where Kevin was heading there. And we have one of the most challenging school districts in the state, if not the country, in that we have, 17, 18,000 kids. Huge district.
Yes.
Lots of opportunities, specifically around technology upgrades, a lot of infrastructure that kind of went unchecked for a number of years. Yet, also being in a county that has the second largest senior population in the free world. Anytime you start talking about spending money on schools and you start bringing up that the worst of all possible curse words, obscenities, disgusting terms, and of course I'm referring to the T word, taxes, right? As soon as you start talking about actually raising money for things, it becomes tricky.
Yes, that is true. And our district and our administration has done a really amazing job of finding money so that we don't go back out for that disgusting T word and really putting the money to good use. I can't say enough good things about Bill Doring and the things that our administration does for this district to find the money to make sure that we can continue to invest back into the schools.
Awesome. We are here with Rob Onofretti. He is the president of the Toms River Board of Ed. Rob, you want to hang with us for another segment after the news?
I'm all yours.
Oh, that's awesome. Rob doesn't want to go home and have to get his kids off to school.
That is true.
I just want to apologize to his wife. But Rob will be joining us on the other side as well. 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. I'm out.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center overlooking the Toms River, it's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. It is 23 degrees and climbing. I don't know why I thought of this is probably an obscure reference, but I just thought of climbing. I thought of this is how messed up my mind is. I just want to share this with you. It's, why not? So, did you ever watch The Price is Right?
All the time.
Okay. So, do you remember the yodeling game where the hiker was like climbing up the mountain as you were getting more money and they would go, and he was like yodeling.
Over
So, when I picture the temperature climbing, I picture it yodeling as it anyway. I just wanted to share that with you. There you go. A little more insight into the completely whacked out mind of Jeremy Grunin. Speaking of whacked out, I am here with Rob Onofretti. He is the president of the Toms River Board of Education, the largest suburban school district in the state. That is true. We're talking about a number of issues. You can join the conversation at 732-505-1160 here on WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio. Available on the Radio Pup app as well. It is 6:33 in the morning as we roll towards as I roll towards 8 o'clock, and then I start my day. Anyway, Rob, I told you I'm not letting you off the hook. You did a really good job talking to us about park testing. By the way, for what it's worth, I agree with you. I do think that standardized testing is important. I do think that it was probably a little bit of overkill last year. I personally don't like the fact that we teach to test as opposed to teaching for teaching. I think we have great teachers who should be teaching our kids what they need to learn to be contributing humans.
Absolutely.
So I do think that the park piece, will be refined over time, and I do think it will be important. Now, Common Core.
Yes.
Here's this is a little bit trickier. So, what do you think? Talk to me.
The point of Common Core was to make sure that the kids in California, Iowa, New Jersey, I guess we're all learning the same thing at the same time at the same level. So when we enter college, there's a good base. It's been around for a while. I go back to the thing. I'm not 100% certain that it all works the way that it was intended to work. I remember the way that I used to learn math, and it's too early for math problems at this early in the morning, but the way that my daughters bring the same problems home, they're not solving them the same way. Right. And then I would go like, no. this is the way you do it. No, that's not the way. So, you know what? It's again, I'll go back to the same thing. Whatever is going to work for the kids, but I'm very much about empowerment of our teachers. I don't think that, you can teach off of a sheet. I think, the curriculum's there to guide, make sure that we're going to hit all our key points, but I want to empower our teachers to teach the way the class is going to best learn. So in theory, the Common Core is a great idea. I just don't know practicality if it works the way that it's meant to.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I struggle with the whole box math thing, too. Yes. I can't draw a box. I'm like, no. If it's 18 times 18, you go 18 times 20, that's 360, and then I take 36 away, it's 324. You get it? Do that in your head now.
I was just going through that last night with my daughter about percentages. Like, no. Yeah. You take the 15%. Right. No. 15 minus 100 is 85. Take 85 times this, and then you get your answer. Oh, you can't. So, yes, I did the same thing yesterday.
The world we live in, just learn how to log in, learn how to put your fingerprint into your iPhone.
Exactly.
And then learn how to get to your calculator app, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
Do I see another phone call over there, Zach?
Yes, you do. We've got James from Lakewood this time.
All right, James, welcome to the show. What can we do for you?
Hi, good morning. How are you? First, I want to thank you. I called in last week to request that you start announcing the time, and if you're doing a great job with it. Although I'll mention that on the other shows the rest of the day. I don't know if you can pass on the word to all the other. I was listening late last night, and they don't announce the times, throughout the night. So maybe you can pass the word on to them.
James, I'm gonna look into that for you. James, as I recall, you said that you have 3 kids or 4 kids.
Oh, 3. Yeah, it's a good memory.
Good. Listen, I remember you, James. You're super memorable. So go ahead, talk to us.
So I just wanted to ask you, what exactly is this park test you're talking about? I never heard of this. I guess it stands for something.
Yeah, the park test is our standardized test. It's the standardized test that New Jersey gives their public schools. It replaced the New Jersey Ask test. It basically will measure your learning of all the core subjects, math, English, throughout the year, and then they're graded as such. And those tests in the past have been used for graduation requirements, for placement into your classes for the following year. So it's an assessment of your overall learning of the core subjects.
At what age is it given?
Excuse me?
At what grade level is it given?
They're given from third. I think they start in 3rd grade all the way up to junior in high school.
Right. Yeah, I think I remember my son's on 5th. I think I remember him taking some kind of aptitude test.
Yes.
In 3rd grade.
All right.
Okay, so what you're saying is up to now it was optional, and now they want to make it mandatory?
No, the test is mandatory. Last year there was a fair number, at least in Toms River. I don't know about the stats in Lakewood, but we did have a fair amount of students opt out of the test. New Jersey is not an opt out state, but you had the right to say whether your child was going to take the test or not. But no, it is a mandatory test.
Right. James, thank you so much for calling and helping us.
I have one last question.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I don't know if you, like you said, you're in Tom's River, boy, but I don't know if you have the same problem as we're having in Lakewood, or if you know the information, what's going on with the courtesy busing. It's apparently in Lakewood there's a big deficit, and they're threatening that as of next month there's no more courtesy busing.
Yeah, I cannot speak to the issues going on with the Lakewood busing. I'd be very honest with you. I don't know all the background. That wouldn't be fair for me to comment. In Toms River, we are going through our own transportation study to determine where we are.
Right. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, we don't have to. In Toms River, we're not dealing with the courtesy busing issue. Obviously we know that the Lakewood school system has been overrun by some challenges presented by busing laws, rules, regulations. That's a whole different show, Rob. We're not gonna throw that particular topic on you today. So you know what? And so I do want to go back for a second though to Common Core, because my own personal opinion again, and this does not necessarily, my opinions do not necessarily represent the opinions of Town Square Media or its subsidiaries. This is wholly my opinion. I think the Common Core caters to the lowest common denominator of teacher. I think it is built for our teachers that are maybe fresh out of school, maybe just looking for a job, maybe not necessarily, the most engaged in the process, and not necessarily the most involved in in really putting the amount of time and effort into being a great teacher that we have with so many of our other teachers. I think that our seasoned veteran teachers who've been doing this for so long with so much love and so much passion, I think that they have actually been hurt to some extent. I think that they get kind of lumped in with the with what I'll call the masses.
Yeah.
But I think this is kind of very much typical of what we do as a society in general.
Yeah, and much of the point I said before, I'm very much about empowering the teachers, putting the pen back in their hand, giving them the freedom to teach the way that that they know that's going to be the best for what's in their classroom. I just had a thought and it just went right out of my head.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Just it came back around. But no, and I'm very much, and that's it goes back to what you're saying about the lowest common denominator. We have really made a lot of strides in about the way that we hire teachers and what we look for. We only want the very absolute best, and our administration and the board takes we take great lengths to ensure that the folks that we have are the absolute cream of the crop, and the teachers in Toms River are just, in my opinion, and I'm not just pandering because I'm here, but I've had just amazing experiences with every teacher that I've had within this district, as a parent and now as a board member. They do an amazing job, and I give them all the credit in the world for how our kids are doing, and as much as that we can do to continue to support them, give them the tools that they need to help our children. That's really our common goal.
Rob, before you came on the air, we were talking about your experience in Manchester schools, and you said that you believe that Manchester had the best teachers. Do you want to? Okay, I'm joking. He didn't really say that. No. This is just me.
Manchester has a very fine school district.
That's really, really well done. Which political office are you running for next, Rob?
Exactly.
No. Okay. So we've talked Common Core. We've talked Park. I want to talk for a second. Well, first of all, what do you feel like your biggest hurdles are in the upcoming year? Actually, if you give us, what do you think the one biggest hurdle you have is?
It's going to be the budget.
Okay.
As it's been very well documented, Toms River has suffered from Hurricane Sandy. Our ratables are not coming back nearly as fast as had anticipated, so we're dealing with a little bit of a budget hole. We've been dealing with this for the last year. We knew it was coming up. Our administration has partnered with the township. We went down to Trenton to talk to our state legislators and let them know exactly what's going on in Toms River. We're still waiting to hear back from them. But that's going to be the biggest issue, and we're determined we're going to get it done. We're going to have to be very creative in making sure that these schools continue to run efficiently.
Awesome. I want to talk about vocational education in 1 minute, but we're going to take a quick break. Rob Onofretti, Toms River Board of Ed, 732-505-1160.
Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin continues. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160, 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
I'll tell you what, time flies when you're having fun. It also flies when you are interviewing a guest. So I have in front of me Rob Onofretti. He is the president of the Toms River Board of Ed, the largest suburban school district in the state. You can call in if you have questions for him, 732-505-1160, here on WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio, and available on the Radio Pup application. It is 6:45 in the morning. I'll tell you what, from here in the studio, it looks like a beautiful morning. It really, really does. It does. It's actually all I see is Rob and I see Zach, and they're, it's a very bright, light. All the lights are on. It's 23 degrees. It's chilly. It's cold. It's going to warm up a little bit, get into the early 40s. Dress appropriately. And by that, I mean, wear regular clothes. No, nothing, no swimwear. No what shorts. I'm saying when I say dress appropriately. Anyway, we just have a couple minutes left with Rob, so you don't want to hear me talk. Rob, one of our largest foci as a foundation is around vocational education and around career training. We have a very unusual situation in Ocean County with vocational education. Where are you? How do you feel about trade schools and teaching kids careers before they get out?
Yeah, sure. Well, before I answer that, do we have to take the mandatory Adele break for that song?
Hello?
I have not heard that.
No, actually, we don't have Hello. We're not even allowed to play it.
Excellent. So I'm all for it. Quite frankly, I think college is an option, but it's not the only option. I think we have a responsibility to the kids to prepare them for life after high school. And vocational training, it provides so many opportunities for students, opens avenues that they didn't know exist. I think it's an incredibly, it's something that we should be definitely spending more time in, and I'm very much for it. Absolutely.
Great. So with that, we have a caller.
Great.
Good morning.
Yes, we do.
Who do we have?
Shane from Toms River.
Hey, Shane, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So my question is, I know we're a big district, and we are grappling with start time.
Yes.
And I know our particularly Intermediate North has the earliest, or one of the earliest start times in the state, and I was wondering where we were with making changes going towards next year, and because so much of the research has come out to say that it's not good for our students.
So I'll answer that. So all my kids go to Intermediate North, so I'm on the same start time as you. I definitely understand it. We have been provided that these questions have been coming up for quite some time. We made a pledge to the public that we would look into this, and we have done so. A couple months ago, we had commissioned a study on our overall transportation operation that we run, which is quite massive. So we're expecting that data back at some point over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll digest it, and then we'll come back to the public. We will be having meetings on this. We'll be having special kind of town hall meetings on these school start times as we go forward to get the public's buy-in. We have read the studies. We're waiting for more. We continue to do our research on it. We're waiting for more information to come back into us, but we're not done with this subject. We are continuing to look forward to it. And really what started as for us was a public. They brought it to our attention. We then commissioned the study, and we'll take all that information as a board. We're going to digest it, and we will look for the public's buy-in later on this year. So we're still looking into it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, I think start times are certainly – look, I think – my own personal opinion, I think start times are a big issue.
Yes.
You mentioned to me before you came on that you run the gamut from the earliest start time to the latest start time.
Yes. There's a 2.5 hour break in between when the intermediate school kids go and then the fifth grader goes off to SITA. So yes, it is. I'm in that vortex of
right. Right. I think also, there are other issues that present themselves around redistricting, around, rebalancing as the community as population has moved,
shifted, yes.
And as aged in certain areas. We see kids we have at High School North, we have a tremendously full school. Meanwhile, at East, we probably have some capacity ability. Mm-hmm. South remains kind of where it was. But so I think there are a number of issues to review. I feel good that you and the current board are taking a much deeper look into a lot of these issues. So I do have to ask though. We were talking about vocational education and career training. We have a very tricky model. If you look in Monmouth County, for example, in Monmouth County, each of the schools pays in to vocational education. They've always have. They pay, with the student goes a dollar amount, and they pay for these kids to go. And as a result, you have some of the best vocational schools really in the country. You have 3 very highly rated vocational technology schools. Toms River, on the other hand, in Ocean County, the schools pay a very minimum amount into the vocational schools, and as a result, we have seen vocational education stagnate to some degree. My question for you, and I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about this because we have one more segment left, is how do you feel about improving our vocational schools as an overall offering if it means that it's going to ultimately take more dollars out of the Toms River school budget? So I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. We'll get your answer in 1 second.
Stay tuned for Preferred Company with Joel Markell and Marianne Levy at 8. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin continues next. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
We are back with Rob Onofretti, president of the Toms River Board of Ed. Before we went to break, as I so skillfully have done, I presented him with the question around if improving vocational education in the county means that the Toms River schools, among all the school systems, have to kick in more dollars. How do you reconcile that in your own mind and in the taxpayer pocket? So your answer is?
It really depends on our budget. I mean, to be honest with you, am I in favor of it? Yeah, I think if we can provide better opportunities for our kids that in Toms River, then I'm all for it. And I think I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I can't see anyone disagreeing it. But again, it all comes down to the almighty dollar. And at this point in time, where we are today, there's not a lot of it. So, but that's what we're working towards. That's what we're working to fix, and that's what we're working to make sure that we continue to run this district in the most efficient manner. And then, yeah, absolutely, if it's there, I'm all for it.
Awesome. Well, Rob, I'll tell you what. I can't believe this hour has flown.
It has
already,
has.
According to this big this big clock that is bulging in my eye.
Yes.
It is 6:54. James, that's for you, by the way, in Lakewood. If you're listening, it's 6:54. I'm going to let you know when it turns to 6:55. But you've said so much. We've covered so much ground. You've skillfully handled phone calls. You've managed to avoid me completely, being sour grapes about the fact that you dismantled me in an election just a year and a half ago. And you've skillfully navigated your way through this time. I wanted to ask now if you have any kind of wrap-up that you'd like to share with our listening audience.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come in. I am always available to you in this program. If there's ever another opportunity for me to come on, please let me know. I had a great time. I want to thank all the callers, the listeners for this morning. And for all the folks that are out there, come to our meetings. We have our committee meetings are the second Wednesday of every month at 11:44. Our board meetings are the third Wednesday of every month over at the auditorium at High School North. Come, ask questions, get involved with the schools, get involved with us. Any questions, let them know. If we can't get the answer, we're going to get them for you. And to my kids who are listening, it's time to go to school. Your bus should be coming. It should be coming at any minute. And for my youngest, who probably woke up just to hear me, it's okay. You can go back to sleep now. We got a little while to go before the bus comes. But again, I want to thank you and thank you for all that you do for Toms River. I mean that. I've got a very good opportunity to meet you over those last couple of months since the election, and I think what you do is great. The foundation, everything you guys do is just amazing for Toms River. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And listen, so I just want to shout out to one of our frequent communicators, texters, Facebook friends, Dan Leonard, who wanted us to make sure that everybody knew that the military is always an option.
You got the same text.
Hashtag free master's degree in case you didn't get enough. Rob Onofretti, I'll tell you what, get up, get out, do something. This man is the embodiment of that. Even ended. How can you dislike somebody who tells their kids they can go back to sleep or get on the bus? I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Mobilizing a family and then helping to mobilize a community. On the other side, we have Adam Phillipson, CEO of the Basie Theater in Red Bank, 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. Be right back.